Good afternoon, St. Francis. Good afternoon, people of God. It is Monday, November the 29th, 2021. It is Monday of the first week of Advent. We have finally come to the Advent season. The second day in the Advent season. It means that there are 27 days until Christmas Day, until the birth of Christ. So as we begin that countdown as we move through the season of Advent to enumerate those days that lead us to the joy of Christmas and the beginning of the Christmas season. Coming to you still from an undisclosed location where I am just finishing up Thanksgiving holiday. I'll be back in Raleigh tomorrow. Let's see, it is also on the Franciscan calendar, the Feast of All Saints of the Seraphic Order. All of our Franciscan saints and blesseds are remembered on this day especially. Actually, it was earlier in the month of November, and then it had to be bumped to the end of November. But remember especially all of our Franciscan saints as we begin to conclude the month of November. It always kind of coincides, most times it coincides with the beginning of Advent, but it should be kind of one of the last things to do in the month of November as we remember again all of those who are deceased, who've gone before us, marked with the sign of faith. Today we remember all of our Franciscan saints. So at St. Francis, to remember all the saints, all the buildings who are named after various saints and blesseds in the Franciscan calendar. As we begin this Advent season, again, this first reading, there are special readings for the Feast of All Saints of the Seraphic Order, but again, they're particular to the Franciscan lectionary. So, but whatever else we'll hear today is good, because sometimes, again, this can also be Monday, the first week of Advent, can also be the Feast of St. Andrew, which is tomorrow, and so it kind of delays our full entrance into Advent. But at least we get one day more of Advent before we have to do St. Andrew tomorrow. And today, as always on this Monday of the first week of Advent, it is the great passage from Isaiah about God turning swords into plowshares. Again, a holy mountain which will attract all people and all nations, where people will find safety and security and new life. Again, what happens in Advent is this great dream of God that begins to unfold, but not a dream that leads into usefulness or purposelessness, but a dream that is about to be fulfilled, a dream that is constantly being fulfilled, but it's only the awareness of believers who can see it happening. And because we see it happening, we must announce to the nations that God is always at work in our world, in our lives, in our future, in our destiny. Remember, the one thing that Advent promises us always is that we have a future, we have a destiny, and it can never be taken away from us because it lies in the arms and the hands of God. Which is why, again, the gospel reading that accompanies this first reading is about the centurion, whose faith in Christ alone and what Christ can do enables his servant to be healed, a servant who is closer to him, like a son, like a member of his family. The centurion basically says, "Say your word and it will be done." Again, in Jesus' remarks, that kind of faith coming from a non-Jew, he wished he could see it among more Jewish people. In the same way, perhaps, the non-Christians among us may have more faith in a God who can do marvels and who can work marvels than we ourselves, who constantly profess what it is that we believe. To put that belief into action, to constantly profess that God can do the remarkable, God can do the unthinkable, God can do the unimaginable, is where Advent places us. And so we run. We run to be able to see God at work. We run to be able to see God accomplishing what God sets out to do. We run to receive the Messiah. All of yesterday's readings, all of yesterday's prayers focus upon running and running and running. Advent will again echo that. The second Sunday of Advent, the third Sunday of Advent will echo again and again the need to keep running to see God at work, to see God's plans and promises fulfilled, to see God's dream come to birth as reality and truth in our lives. For us to be afraid and to live in fear allows that dream not to take place, allows that dream to be hampered, allows that dream to face obstacles. We have to face the future always without fear, knowing again that our destiny lies in God's hands and God's heart and what God intends to do with this world. Advent again and again promises that to us, and it's again and again why we need to move into the Advent season, why we need this Advent season, to be conscious of that promise, that dream of God, which is not meant to move into nothingness, but which is meant to be fulfilled in God's own time and in our witnessing to it. May the Lord give you his peace.